Welcome back, guys. Bernie Sanders keeps fighting for Social Security benefits. You've got to love the guy. And he just wrote a letter to President Biden urging him to increase supplemental security payments up to $3,000 per year. So in this video, we're going to cover the details of this letter and other comments Bernie Sanders recently made as well. But before we get into it, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It truly goes a long way in supporting my channel. So recently, we've talked about on this channel, Bernie Sanders fighting for that $200 per month stimulus boost, fighting for Social Security benefits reform, and a larger COLA increase to make sure we get bigger monthly payments for those who are on Social Security. Well, now, Democrats, including Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, they're pushing President Biden to include larger monthly payments for those who are on supplemental security income. And I've talked about it on this channel. Right now, President Biden is working on his Build Back Better plan, which includes the infrastructure package. And then later this year, he's going to pass the American Families package. And Democrats want Biden to include a larger supplemental security payments in that last package. Now, they also want to include Social Security benefits reform, but that one is going to be a little more difficult to include in a budget reconciliation bill. Because remember, just like Democrats passed the stimulus package through budget reconciliation to avoid a filibuster from Republicans, they're going to have to do the same thing most likely in these next two stimulus packages. And there are some issues with reforming Social Security through budget reconciliation. Remember in the last stimulus package, Democrats wanted to include that $15 minimum wage, and the Senate parliamentarians said that legally would not be allowed. Now, they're going to hit similar road bumps when it comes to Social Security reform. Democrats can try and include it in budget reconciliation, but there is a big chance that the Senate parliamentarian will not allow them to include Social Security reform in a budget reconciliation plan. This is why the jury is still out. Can Democrats include Social Security reform in budget reconciliation? Will the parliamentarian make them remove it? But one thing we do know is that including supplemental security reform in a budget reconciliation bill is allowed. So although we're still sitting on pins and needles waiting to see if we get Social Security reform, reforming supplemental security income would be a massive step in the right direction, right? Because it would put a lot of pressure on Democrats and Biden to then reform Social Security benefits as well. And now Democrats, including Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, have written a letter to President Biden urging him to increase supplemental security income payments to at least the poverty level, which would equate to an extra $3,000 per year in supplemental security income payments. Currently, the monthly payment is about $800 per month, a little bit less, and the federal poverty level is almost $13,000, a little bit under. I think it's about $12,700. So if you do the math, the difference between what people currently receive on SSI and the poverty level is just under $300 per month, which adds up to $3,000 per year in additional payments if Bernie Sanders and Democrats can get this done. So let's quickly go over the letter that Bernie Sanders and other Democrats wrote to President Biden and to Kamala Harris, what's included and what they are demanding President Biden do. They wrote, "Dear President Biden and Vice President Harris, in recovering from the pandemic, as your administration has made clear, we have an unprecedented opportunity to expand the American social safety net and lay the foundation for a just and sustainable society. While there is much to applaud in the American Jobs Plan, we especially appreciate your push to invest $400 billion in expanding access to home and community-based services. Of course, this would greatly help those who are retired. This represents an important step towards fulfilling your campaign commitments to eliminate waiting lists for those services for people with disabilities and older adults, fix Medicaid's institutional bias, and raise wages and benefits for care workers. We look forward to working with you to transform our economy to prioritize well-being and care for all people." Now, this is a really nice introduction complimenting Joe Biden's plans to increase funding for healthcare, which would greatly help those who are on SSI and those who are on Social Security benefits. Now they're going to ask for more. Now, as you prepare to build on that vision with the forthcoming American Families Plan, we ask that you devote particular attention to the lowest income disabled and older Americans, who are all too frequently left behind. In that spirit, we wish to highlight desperately needed improvements to the Supplemental Security Income Program, many of which were included in the historic commitments you made to the disability and aging communities during your presidential campaign. Again, they're pointing out the fact that President Biden promised on the campaign trail to increase supplemental security benefits and increase Social Security benefits as well. So they're holding him to his word. This is really, really good because too many times presidents, whether good or bad, even the good ones, they make promises on the campaign trail and they never follow through. And that is exactly what this channel is about. Every single video I make lately is about reforming Social Security benefits and holding President Biden to his word. We need to be the voice that keeps President Biden to his word. And let me know in the comments if you agree. So really good to see that Bernie Sanders and fellow Democrats are writing a letter to Biden holding him to his word. And they said, "The list below is not comprehensive, and we would like to offer to work with you on additional improvements as well, as Congress has a number of pieces of legislation that point the way forward. Specifically, we urge you to indicate your support for the following SSI program reforms in the American Families Plan. First of all, raise benefit levels above the federal poverty line. Secondly, increase the SSI asset limit and index it to inflation going forward. This would allow more people to qualify for SSI by increasing the threshold limits for those who can qualify. Thirdly, update the income exclusions and index them for inflation going forward." Again, this would allow more people to qualify for SSI based off of their income and allow them to make more money per month and still qualify for SSI. They also want him to eliminate the marriage penalty and in-kind maintenance and support rules that reduce benefits for those who receive shelter, meals, and groceries from family or friends. Basically, they want to remove the penalties that you get if someone else is helping you financially. Now, specifically in this letter, they said they want to raise benefit levels above the federal poverty line. SSI offers a vital income floor for older adults as well as children and adults with disabilities. Approximately 8 million Americans receive SSI benefits, most of whom are non-elderly people with disabilities who possess no other source of income. SSI represents a vital lifeline for these Americans, without which they would be unable to meet their fundamental needs. Unfortunately, the federal government has failed to adequately maintain this lifeline. SSI benefits have long been inadequate, with the federal benefit level standing at only $794 a month, far below the federal poverty line. During your campaign, you called for addressing this crisis, rightfully pointing out that people with disabilities and older adults should never have to live in poverty in America. We believe you were correct, and we ask you to raise the benefit to at least 100% of the federal poverty line. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this letter. Again, I just really, really love the fact that Democrats are holding President Biden to his word. Because I'm going to be honest, I mean, we've had a lot of good so far. We had stimulus approved. We've had the vaccines being rolled out really quickly. But as I talk about on this channel, President Biden has been really, really quiet when it comes to Social Security and when it comes to supplemental and disability income as well. So guys, that is what we're here for, to make sure our voice is being heard. And in this letter, they ask President Biden, we want you to come out and say that you support these reforms. You support reforming supplemental security income, and you support increasing monthly benefits. So we're hoping President Biden will come out, say he supports this, and try and include it in his next stimulus package, which is going to be called the American Families Plan, which we expect to be approved at the end of 2021, sometime between October and the end of December. And again, hopefully this is a step in the right direction. Hopefully this will lead to Social Security benefits reform. Again, something else that President Biden promised throughout his campaign. Now, obviously, the money for this has to come from somewhere, and President Biden and Bernie Sanders have already proposed a lot of different tax increases to help pay for Social Security and help pay for supplemental security income reform. Now, we've talked in depth on this channel about Biden's plans to increase taxes on the rich, but Bernie Sanders has even more aggressive tax increases. He wants to create more tax increases to increase benefits for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, even lower drug prices and increase that minimum wage. Just across the board, increase the quality of life for lower income Americans. Now let's take a look at some of Bernie Sanders' ideas to increase taxes on the wealthy, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. First of all, he wants to lower prescription drug prices. We've talked about that on this channel, and he mainly wants to fund this by taxing the rich. He wants to end offshore tax havens so corporations can no longer make their companies based in the Cayman Islands pay 0% or 2% income tax as opposed to paying their fair share here in this country. He also wants to raise taxes on inherited wealth. So when someone builds wealth, they own stocks, they own real estate, they pass away and they pass this down to their children. The tax on that is relatively low. He wants to increase the tax on this to make sure that something that's being inherited is being taxed to fund Social Security. Guys, some people think this is controversial, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. One more thing he wants to do is actually establish a tax on financial transactions, specifically when someone buys or sells stocks. So think about it. When you go to the store and you buy a Coke, you pay tax. When you go to the store and you buy t-shirts, you pay a tax on that transaction. But when someone buys a stock or sells a stock, they don't necessarily pay a tax on that transaction. Now, if you sell a stock and you make profit, you will pay taxes on that profit as capital gains income, but you don't necessarily pay a tax just on the transaction like you do for products that you buy at the store. So Bernie Sanders' argument is, if someone who is living in poverty has to buy a vegetable for sustenance and has to pay tax on that vegetable or on that fruit, whatever it is, why are millionaires and billionaires buying and selling stocks and things like that without paying a tax? And when you think about it, it kind of makes a lot of sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You know, this is something that is really controversial because it can affect the economy and the stock market as a whole. As we saw this week, President Biden announced his plans to increase taxes on stocks, and the stock market completely collapsed. Now, whether or not you care about the stock market, a lot of people's retirements are tied into their 401ks, which of course depends on the stock market doing well. So this is why these things can get very complex. But personally, I tend to agree with the idea. I think it's a good idea, even if it's a small 0.1% tax, something really, really small. It would add up and it would go a long way to fund Social Security. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think we should increase taxes to fund Social Security? And do you think President Biden should include supplemental security income reform in his next stimulus package? We're hoping he responds to this letter, and we're hoping he includes reform in this next stimulus package. And guys, with everything going on, with the pandemic just ruining the economy, ruining people's lives, this article just came out saying that despite the pandemic, Americans are becoming more and more optimistic when it comes to Social Security and Medicare reform, in large part because they do believe that Bernie Sanders will continue to fight for reform to make Medicare expansions a reality and Social Security benefits reform a reality as well, with increased benefit payments to make sure that nobody who is retired is forced to live in poverty in this country. Guys, if you've paid taxes your entire life and you've paid into Medicare and you've paid into Social Security, you deserve to live through a retirement of dignity. And let me know in the comments if you agree. With that said, guys, we should have a lot of updates in the next few weeks as President Biden is expected to announce the details of his American Families Plan. So don't forget to subscribe. I will keep you updated on the latest details. But guys, thank you so much for watching my video. It truly goes a long way in supporting my channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share this channel with anybody who you think might find this helpful. And again, thank you so much for watching. So until the next video, take care and have a great day.